That night at 2 a.m., I was a 30-year-old mother staring at a dated ultrasound photo that contradicted everything they'd said. I sat at the kitchen table under a small lamp. My partner was on the couch, half asleep with his phone. The photo was cropped and grainy, but the date showed April 4th. The file name had a clinic timestamp and a creation date. We'd just ended a video call that had gone sideways. Our 15-year-old son had been accused of fathering a baby. Part of me wanted to sleep. Part wanted to call the school and yell. I opened messages and started tracing names. I tapped through timestamps until my fingers went numb. I saved the ultrasound again to my phone, emailed the image to myself, and printed a hard copy. The paper felt important in my hands. I labeled the printout with a felt tip marker, careful and slow. I wondered if anyone else had preserved the original file. I texted my sister, "We need to talk now," she asked. "Is he okay?" I answered, "No. We need proof." The next morning, friends began asking questions. I told them who I was and what had happened. We were a stable little family in a mid-sized city. My partner worked day shifts. I worked part-time from home. Our son had known Bree since elementary school. Their families had gone to the same PTA events. Bree's family lived 3 states away. They still messaged and shared photos sometimes. Neighbors and mutual friends knew both kids from school events. The school counselor had met both families at least once. Part of me wanted to assume confusion. Another part feared this had been planned to manipulate him. I wrote down dates, clinic names, and the scan timestamp. We called our son into the living room at noon. He sat down without his backpack. His face stayed pale. I showed him the ultrasound on my phone, date and GA visible. He looked at the scan longer than I expected. Then he told us a version I hadn't planned for. "It was on purpose," he said in a small voice. My partner dropped his coffee cup and swore. I asked, "What do you mean on purpose?" He rubbed his hands. "He wanted us to move in. We planned it. Why would you do that? You're 15. He shrugged. "She said it would fix things at home." She pushed. My partner stood and said, "We are not doing that." "No." I said, "We need a DNA test first. We need facts." He nodded and walked out. I noticed his hoodie had a small hole near the cuff. The photo looked stark against the black phone frame. My partner slid down the couch, hands over his face. "How long has this been going on?" my partner asked quietly. "A few months, I think," I said, smoothing the printout. "We missed the signs," he said, voice tight. "Did you tell anyone else?" I asked him. "Just Hannah," he said. "Did she record anything?" I asked. "Maybe," he said. "She said she would." "Where did you sleep together?" my partner asked. "At her aunt's place," he answered. "When was this?" I pressed. "January 4th, he said. "You knew the risks?" my partner asked. "I didn't think," he said. "Who else knew about their plan?" I asked. "Only Bree and Hannah and me," he said. "Lock your social accounts now," I told him. "I will," he said. We cut off direct contact with Bree's family that afternoon. My partner sent a brief message. "We won't discuss this without proof." They replied with angry texts and voicemails. One voicemail had Bree's mother saying, "You will do right." I replied once, measured and legal sounding, "We will pursue DNA." I blocked a couple numbers to stop the flood of insults. We told our son to hand over his phone for a few days. He argued and finally handed it to us with a sigh. That night, I searched the phone and found messages, photos, a calendar note, and a screenshot of a clinic receipt. I photographed those files and uploaded them to a folder on my laptop. I labeled the folder Medical Records and saved every timestamped file. I copied each message into a secure notes app with timestamps. I screenshotted the calendar entry and the clinic receipt immediately. I printed the clinic receipt and stapled it to the photo. I uploaded everything to a cloud folder and encrypted the link. I emailed the folder to our lawyer and waited for instructions. At the lawyer's office, she handed me a thin manila folder with standard forms and a checklist of next steps. I initialed each page and scanned them for records daily. It hit me then that paperwork would matter more than anyone's words. 3 days later, Hannah messaged a video clip. She wrote, "I saved this from when Bree had her scan." I opened it in the kitchen while my partner poured coffee. The clip showed a clinic screen and an ultrasound spinning on the monitor. A technician's voice announced estimated due date August 20th 6 and DA at 19 weeks. On screen a measurement read, GA 19.3, and the clip had metadata. The video file had a creation date from the clinic phone. I froze while the clip looped twice on the table. My partner's hands tightened around the coffee mug. I replayed the clip, watching the timestamp in the lower corner. I sent the clip to our lawyer and to our mutual friend group. One friend wrote, "Those dates don't match their story." I called the clinic number shown on the video. The receptionist answered cautiously and confirmed an appointment timestamp. She said a technician had been on duty that afternoon but would not release records without a legal request. "We can provide records with a subpoena." I made a list of documents to request. We booked an appointment with a family lawyer the next morning and drafted an email asking Bree's family for original files and timestamps. The lawyer said, "Get everything preserved. Subpoena-ready evidence matters." We sat at a small table strewn with printouts and notepads while the lawyer drafted an initial demand. I printed a subpoena template and signed it where indicated. She slid the signed page back across the table to me. "I thought it was a mistake," I said. "It doesn't add up," he answered. "We need exact dates and files." "Yes, no decisions until we have proof. Call Hannah and ask for everything," our lawyer suggested. "I already did," I said. "She sent the clip." "Save the original files," the lawyer said. "Do not alter them." "We won't," I answered. We filed for subpoenas and served the clinic within 48 hours. The clinic handed over original DICOM files under subpoena. An independent radiographer reviewed the metadata and the image measurements. He confirmed the machine timestamped matched the April 4th entry and that the GAIA reading fit the August 20th 6 due date. The radiographer sent an email with attached metadata sheets and a clear explanation for court. He added, "Those measurements rule out a January 4th conception." I read his report twice, tracing each measurement with my finger. I felt some relief and still worried about the other girl's future. Hannah's clip became central to our legal request. The lawyer prepared subpoenas for the radiographer and the clinic computer logs. We printed the April 4th scan image and saved clinic receipts. I wrote down every timestamp and saved the video creation metadata. We kept copies of subpoenas in multiple places and let the lawyer handle direct communication. She advised an accredited lab for paternity testing to preserve chain of custody. We scheduled pediatric sample collection for our son and the baby. I taped a copy of the clinic timestamp to the medical records folder. The baby was born amid a media storm in early September. People had already posted photos of the newborn online with our son's name. A reporter called our lawyer demanding a statement that morning. Fans and strangers messaged our son's school social channels with accusations. Our son wanted to stay away from the hospital entirely. We agreed to pursue a DNA test immediately and through legal channels. We went to the hospital because the other family asked us to be present. A nurse read the ED aloud from the chart when we arrived. Estimated due date August 20th, 6. I asked the nurse, "Can you confirm that on paper?" She nodded, wrote the date on a clipboard, and I put the paper in my pocket. My son sat beside me, silent and pale, wearing his hoodie. I held his hand. I called our lawyer from the parking lot and said, "We need a DNA test immediately." She told us to file for emergency paternity testing and preserve chain of custody. Reporters crowded the hospital foyer as people came and went. Bree's mother stood near the entrance, flanked by a relative and a phone. She saw us, moved forward, and started shouting toward the cameras. I walked into the foyer and stopped 2 steps from her. Security hovered nearby. Phones were recording everything. "We need the records, not the shouting. Show proof now," I said. "You owe us. He is the father. You will pay," she said. I held up the clinic video on my phone and showed the timestamp. That video shows April 4th and a GA of 19 weeks. She stepped closer and yelled, "You think a phone proves anything?" I said. "We issued subpoenas. We have facts," a reporter shouted. "Will you make a statement?" I said. "No, let the records talk." Security moved between us when voices rose and phones aimed cameras. A light flashed suddenly. My throat felt tight and dry. She spat. "You ruined my daughter." I said, "We wanted records first, always records." The exchange lasted less than 5 minutes. The press recorded her accusations. We left when hospital security urged calm and separation. After the hospital confrontation, we went ahead with the lab test. The accredited lab explained chain of custody and swab procedures. Our son sat in a small chair and allowed a cheek swab. He joked to keep things light, but his hands trembled. I signed every consent form and initialed every page. At the lab, a technician opened a sterile kit, labeled each tube, and I signed a chain of custody receipt and kept a copy. The Courier app updated, received on September 19th. I noted the driver's name and the van number. The lawyer told us results would be certified by October 10th. I prepared a short statement for the school and neighbors and gave it to the counselor to distribute if needed. "Will this prove anything?" Our son asked, voice small. "It will show the truth," I said. "How long until results?" I asked the lab technician. "Usually 10 business days," she said. "This lab is fast." "We'll call you when complete," she added. On October 10th, the lab called our lawyer first. She called me at noon and said, "The result is negative." I opened the certified letter at the kitchen table. The envelope crackled when I broke the waxy seal open. My hands trembled as I unfolded the multi-page report. The formal report read that our son was not the father. The certified wording hit me with finality and relief. I cried for the first time in weeks. I cried from relief and felt guilty for how the other family might react. We filed an official notice through our lawyer withdrawing any suggestion against him. Some of the other family's posts came down over days. Gossip does not vanish with a legal verdict. It is negative, our lawyer said softly over the phone. "Are you okay?" my partner asked. "I think so," I answered, folding the letter carefully away. We enrolled our son in therapy the week after results. He attended sessions with a counselor who works with teenage trauma cases. He went once a week and sometimes came home exhausted. The counselor handed me a pamphlet about adolescent coping strategies on our first visit. He fiddled with a stress ball and avoided eye contact at sessions. "Does it help at all?" I asked quietly in the kitchen. "Sometimes I feel better, but often tired afterwards still," he said. "One step at a time. We will rebuild," I told him. He ate cereal and shrugged, trying to look casual. Months later, mornings included homework and packed lunches again. My partner returned to overtime and I started volunteering at the school. The folded DNA results stayed in a kitchen drawer. I took it out sometimes and read the verdict aloud to myself. Chronology recap. December visits and messages occurred prior to allegations. Alleged conception date was January 4th. April 4th scan showed gestational age 9.3 weeks. Public pregnancy announcement followed later in social posts. July clinic video confirmed 19 weeks and estimated due date August 20th, 6. Early September, the baby was born amid public speculation and media. September 19th, our son provided a DNA sample at an accredited lab. October 10th, the DNA result came back negative and certified. I kept that timeline in a folder and shared it with the counselor. We worked to protect our son's privacy and rebuild his sense of safety. Part of me wanted forgiveness for everyone who had been hurt. Part of me wanted protection for my child above all else. Clearing his legal name did not erase the gossip. We gave him therapy, boundaries, and time to find steady friends again. I watched him grow more careful and resilient each week. We didn't get a neat bow. We got a record and a long repair job. I folded the DNA result and returned it to the kitchen drawer. Sometimes late at night, I take the paper out again. I read the date and the verdict, hoping it will help. I fold it carefully and tuck it between cookbooks and receipts. Part of me wanted to forget everything and start over somewhere quiet.